Yeah.
And that really does show the power of relationships and the
Yes.
fact that, like, you know, even if you had a bad situation, that you could turn it around and
Absolutely. You could
keep,
pivot.
yeah, and keep moving forward, because I feel like
Yes.
everyone in music anyways wears so many different hats. So it's so easy, or I shouldn't say easy, but it's acceptable that you can pivot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you have to, because things change. You know, it can be
Mhm.
something as simple as the A&R guy who signed you left the label, and the label doesn't want to let you go because maybe someday they'll put you out. But then on the flip side, the guy who was your, or the gal who was your cheerleader inside the company is no longer there. So there's nobody like rooting for you or protecting you from the corporation.
Wow. So what are some other common challenging situations that artists bring to you?
Very often they will sign a deal without having an attorney look it over. So artists will trust that somebody has their best interest in mind when they're on the opposing side of the desk, which is always very shocking to me. But I guess artists can be a little bit more trusting than they need to be. When you sign a deal with anybody, you should always have an attorney. Even if you're signing a deal with friends, you should have an attorney that can look over the paperwork and let you know, okay, here's what can go wrong, here's what can go right. This is, you know, this is what it says, this is what you're looking at, this is the reality of what could happen with this deal. Another area where things don't go great for an artist is many artists think that all record deals are the same, or all record labels are the same. So they think whether they signed to Sony or Interscope or Def Jam or, you know, Little Boo Boo's label down the block, it's all the same, and it's not. Every label has strengths and weaknesses, and every label has different budgets and different internal culture at the label. Some of them are very artistic oriented, some of them are money oriented, some of them are radio focused, some of them are street focused. So it's really important to sign to a label that's going to be strong where you're strong. And if they do have a weakness, you want to be able to get some sort of stipulation in the contract that you can hire somebody from the outside that can be
Mhm.
strong wherever they're weak. Like maybe
Yeah.
they're weak in digital ads or video promotion or influencer marketing, or maybe they suck at TikTok. You want to have something in the paperwork that gives you the right to go and hire somebody on the outside that's good at the things the label's weak at, and you want the label to pay for that. You don't want to have to come out of pocket.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so when you initially start looking at the contracts, what do you immediately look for?
The first thing I look for is to see if the artist had a lawyer advise, and there's a section in there where almost all recording contracts and management, actually almost all contracts say you've been advised to have an attorney look at this, and if you don't have an attorney look at this, it's kind of your own decision. And that right there, when I first saw that clause, that told me that, okay, they're even telling you in this contract to go get a lawyer, and they're saying if you don't, that's on you. So to me, that reaffirmed how important it is to have an attorney go over contracts. And very often I'll sit down with an artist and explain to them almost line for line what the contract is really saying and what it means to them, because it's written in legalese. It's written in a language that you and I don't readily understand easily.
Mm-hmm. And within the contracts, are there certain areas that are more challenging than others for the
Absolutely.
artists to understand?
Absolutely. I always suggest that they look at the length of term. You want as short a term as possible. You look at what the advance is going to be, how much money they're going to advance you up front, because that's the amount of money that you're going to have to live on until your music comes out and you start making money. And you don't make money right away. Like, it can take a year or 2 years or 3 years of work and grinding and build before you start making income. So you've got to be able to live on that money that they're advancing. And you have to look at how they expect you to pay it back. Do you have to recoup it 100%? Is the money coming out of your share, or is it coming off the top? You know, these are things that you have to look at. You know, what's the percentage that you're going to get? Is it a 50-50 split? Is it a typical 15% or 18% deal? Or is it the other extreme, which is an 80-20 split, and you're keeping 80% of the income? Like, what type of deal is this? And what are you getting out of it, and how much do you have to recoup before you get paid?
And I could see now how that could be very overwhelming.
It is.
Actually, one of my entertainment lawyer friends just provided this like calculator, and it's shocking. And I will include it. I don't know if you have something